How's it going, ladies and gents? It's Jeff Benjamin with I Download Blog. This is Let's Talk Jailbreak, episode number 20. I have my co-host, Cody Lee, on the line. How is it going, Cody?
Excellent. How about you, Jeff?
It is going fantabulous.
Fantabulous? Is that a new word you're using? Or?
Yeah, I just invented that one. So what's new, man?
Wow, not a whole lot. I had a pretty exciting weekend. We went out to the beach, and I think we talked about this last week. I got a new camera, a new Canon.
Yeah.
The new Canon, or I guess not the new, but Canon's little mirrorless EOS M that it came out with last fall, and we took that out to the coast to kind of test it out, and we had a lot of fun. Actually, we found some new hiking spots where we were able to get some really good views of the ocean and the coastline.
Nice. So the UPS dude did come.
He did come. He didn't come till. Oh no! Here's what ended up happening. Amazon sent it USPS for the first time ever in my life. Yeah, we are. Yes. Yeah, we're Amazon Prime members, and I've never, out of probably 200 or 300 deliveries, have never seen them use USPS. But they use USPS, and my girlfriend got it out of the mailbox on her way home. I was like, "Are you kidding?"
Wow. Well, at least you got it. You got it that same day, though, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. She picked it up in the mailbox that same day, and yeah, we put it through the paces on Saturday, and it's a nice little camera.
Is it worth? Do you think it was worth its original price?
No. $800? No way, because it did not. I was surprised at this. It did not. The battery didn't last very long, and the picture quality. We also took our T4i out there, a Canon T4i, and the picture quality is just not on par. So
really,
yeah, it's a substandard camera, but I think for the $300 or whatever the sale price was, I think it's a nice beginner DSLR, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I've always wanted to try one of those. Maybe I'll borrow yours one day. So, I had this pretty interesting weekend, a lot of stuff to talk about. But one of the big things, I think, was the outage with the development center.
Right.
Apple's dev center went out.
It did. Yeah, it went out. Actually, I think the first reports were it went out last Thursday around noon. And then people were reporting on Friday. Actually, we touched on it on Friday that it had been down for almost 2 days. And typical maintenance, when they take down the dev center for maintenance, it's usually a couple minutes, maybe a few hours at the most. And it was down for 2 days. And then, we were talking about it on Sunday going, man, it's still down. There has to be a serious problem here.
So what did the problem end up being?
Well, Apple was mum on it for most of the weekend. But on Sunday, it finally announced that it had suffered an attack from an intruder, right? It was basically somebody tried to infiltrate their servers, and I think he was successful and was able to gain access to not sensitive data, mind you. They were very adamant about the fact that he didn't gain access to credit cards or encrypted user data or app data or anything like that, but he was able to gain access to like developer emails and different things like that. So it wasn't scary, but it was a pretty big deal, right? There's huge implications here because so much sensitive information is stored on those servers.
Right.
So, and then late last night, the gentleman that everybody, that we think is responsible for this, he claimed responsibility. His name is Ibrahim Baloch. He's a security researcher out of I believe it's the UK, but he took responsibility. He posted a video of all of his work and showed what he was able to do. He claims it was not malicious. He claims it was just part of his research, but we really don't know, and Apple's not really saying much else other than they did not gain, that we shouldn't worry that he did not gain access to sensitive data.
Right.
So
did he take it down, or did Apple take it down after it was attacked?
Well, okay, so he's claiming he sent all his work into Apple on Thursday or right before Apple took the dev center down. So he thinks that Apple took it down in response to his warnings. But there was a lot of developers on Twitter over the weekend claiming that they had received password reset requests, and that suggests that he was actually trying to use that information maliciously. He was trying to log in from different locations or was trying to gain access to their accounts. So we're a little unclear on what went down exactly, but it sounds like, Apple took down the dev center in order to patch the holes that he shared with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's probably Apple that took it down just for precautionary reasons.
Well, and they said in a statement on Sunday that They are completely overhauling the system. They're updating server software. They're completely rebuilding just pretty much everything. And as you know, iOS 7 Beta 4 was on schedule or was believed to be released today. And that's obviously been pushed back as they move to try to, you know,
Right.
fix this
So
issue.
so this guy, you're the reason I don't have iOS 7.
Yeah, pretty much. We got his Twitter. We linked up to his Twitter in some of our articles. So no, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Like I said, we don't know. It doesn't look like he had any malicious attempts. It looks like he was literally just trying to show Apple that they had some security holes in their development portal. So
Apple needs to hire the guy.
right, and a lot of our readers have
Basically.
said that actually.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So that was pretty eventful. Now, I know we've also had a lot of stuff over the past few weeks about the carriers. They've been making some noise. AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile.
Right.
I don't even know. Was Sprint in there?
No, Sprint has not
No.
come forward. It started with T-Mobile. They introduced the jump plan. I think it's been 2 weeks now, where they said
Right.
pay us $10 a month, and you can upgrade as soon as in 6 months. Right, you turn in your device, and we'll let you get a new one, and you won't have to pay full retail. You'll get it at a cheaper cost. And I think T-Mobile's $10 a month also includes like insurance and some other goodies. So, but anyways, they introduced the jump plan, and then AT&T introduced what they called the AT&T Next plan, and then Verizon followed up with its Verizon Edge plan, right? So they're all fairly similar in what they accomplish. You pay monthly fees and you get to upgrade more frequently, but we've done a couple of comparisons on IDB, and we found that they're not all equal in terms of what they'll end up costing you over, over time, over a year, over 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, and what we found is T-Mobile is actually a lot cheaper than the other two. It's actually about $400 cheaper than AT&T's offering. If you look at cost of service and cost of equipment over a 1 year period, it's about $400 less expensive than AT&T is.
Huh. Well, that's not surprising. T-Mobile's usually try to make their stuff the cheapest, right?
Right.
Yeah. Now, I guess if you're already in a contract, though, how does that work? I mean, if say I'm with Verizon now, I'm in the middle of my contract, can I sign up to their?
Yeah, you can, I believe. Now, Verizon's Edge plan will not go into effect until, I believe it's August 25th. But I think once that it becomes available, you will actually be able to sign up for this and pay. I can't think of what they charge. I know AT&T wants you to pay 1/20th the cost of a device per month. And that equals for an iPhone 5 that's $650 full retail, that equals like I think somewhere around $32. I think Verizon's a little bit.
Wow, that's expensive.
Yeah, I think.
$32 a month.
Oh yeah,
No
on top.
way.
Yeah, on top of your rate plan actually. So
Yeah. So are carriers doing away with subsidies? I mean, are subsidies a thing of the past?
well, here's the thing. Both AT&T and Verizon are actually still. I mean, their rate plans are just as high as they were when they were charging for subsidies. Carriers have long just built in a $20 or $30 cost into their rate plans to recoup the cost of that iPhone that they sold you for $199 that they had to pay $650
Right.
for. They've long had that built in. Well, guess what? They've just introduced these new equipment upgrade plans, and they're not reducing the cost of their rate plans.
Exactly.
So you not only
And
are you
that's-
paying that built-in $20 subsidy that they've had for years, you're paying another $30. I think it ends up you almost paying for your device twice.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, this is really dumb.
Yeah,
Why not just instead put the $30 in the bank
right.
and gain interest and then pay for your device, when it comes out?
Yeah, I mean, Consumer
This-
Reports reported on it over the weekend. They took a look at AT&T's Next and T-Mobile's Jump, and they said the same thing. They said, "Man, this is kind of a ripoff for customers. You're better off paying full retail and just selling your
Right.
device on eBay or even with
Yeah.
a third party company like what am I thinking of? Gazelle. You could sell it to Gazelle at the end of a year and still come out ahead versus what these carriers
Right.
are offering."
I think the lesson here is that carriers are not your friend. No matter what they say, or no matter what they do, no matter what new plan that supposedly will save you money, they are not going to eat into their bottom line.
Right.
Bottom line.
Because their bottom line's changed, right? And a lot over the past couple of years. They've lost money to texting. They used to make a lot of their money off of text messaging. And
Right.
with the introduction of iMessage and Skype and different messaging services like WhatsApp, and they've had to move over to we want to charge for data. They're trying to figure out a way to keep making as much money as they were making as they're losing control over a lot of their services.
The customer will never get ahead. Now, one thing I will say about this though is that some of those what do they call the
MVNOs.
MVNO?
Yeah,
exactly.
what does that stand for? Something virtual network.
Something like
Yeah.
that. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but those seem to be a pretty good deal.
If they have service in your area, yes, people have reported great success with things like Straight Talk, and other regional carriers. They say they piggyback on the big networks, like they say they'll piggyback on Verizon or AT&T, but I wouldn't be fooled. I don't see Straight Talk coverage everywhere like Verizon has coverage everywhere, and you'll even sometimes have to put up with different carrier files not matching up, so you don't get LTE in certain areas, things like that. So
Yeah. Now that's another thing. A lot of those, MVNOs or whatever they're called, they don't have
LTE,
LTE.
right.
So that's kind of I don't want to say it's a complete deal breaker, but it's hard to go back after you've been using, 4G.
Yeah, I completely agree. If you're if you're not on Wi-Fi all the time, LTE is definitely your best alternative.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's I think it's just something we got to sit back, kind of let the dust settle a little bit and see
Exactly.
where it all stands.
Exactly, because some of these plans won't launch until either the end of this month, or like I said, Verizon's won't launch till next month. So you'll have to wait until a quarter or so after that. Let the carriers kind of see how these plans are doing, and then they'll make their adjustments accordingly.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And don't let T-Mobile fool you. They're trying to act like they're the good guys in this.
well, I mean, in the Consumer Reports article I was referring to earlier, it proves that they are substantially cheaper than the others. But yeah, there's got to be you're having to make some trade-offs one way or another. Their coverage isn't nearly as good as Verizon's is, for one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
So
yeah, so it's like pick your poison.
Yeah. Or just case by case basis. Look at don't go for the shiny new deal. Really do your research and see if you're going to come out ahead.
Right. Yeah. Good point. All right. Awesome. Let's talk about some jailbreak stuff.
Yes,
I know that's
jailbreak stuff.
That's what people want to hear. So first of all, on the docket is Auxo Slim, and that's not out just yet.
No, but you got a special
it's a
preview,
beta.
didn't you?
Yeah, they got the connections, man.
You always get the hookup, Jack.
But Auxo has a new Sebastian approved Slim mode. And this new mode allows you to have all the Auxo functionality that we've all come to know and love, except it doesn't have those full screen or those full app previews. It just has the normal app icons in your app switcher.
Right.
So what do you think about that?
Okay. If you really want to know, Jeff, no, I really like this. I'm like Sebastian. I didn't like the full screen previews, and I think me and you have even talked about this on the show before. That I would like it better if they were just normal icons down there, and it looks like that's what this is. Am I correct? That these are just the average icons, and then the benefit here is you still have functionality of the iPod controls are still down there, and the settings toggles are still down there.
Right, and you still have your swipe gestures, your tap and hold gestures to kill apps. So basically, if you open up the new Auxo beta, you can't tell the difference between it and just a stock app switcher unless you start playing with it. So it looks stock. It looks completely stock on the app switcher itself.
Now,
I'm impressed.
Now, here's the question: I saw in your video that it is just like a setting you're going to be able to enable or disable, right? The new Slim theme. Do you know if he's going to charge for this update? You have any idea?
I don't know. I can't speak on that. I wouldn't think so, but don't let me.
Right, because I mean, and I wouldn't be surprised. At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if he did, just because this probably takes some substantial work to kind of rework the UI so it works with these smaller icons.
I think the fact that it uses flip switch, it plays a big part in making it work a little bit easier, I think, because those are, to my knowledge, most of those are vector icons. So they kind of just, remorph as
Okay.
the size of the app switcher. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I got.
Okay.
To a certain extent. That's I don't think, I mean, obviously it's not
Right.
easy to make this work, but I think that was a pretty straightforward thing, but you have to ask Jack Willis, the
No,
developer.
I appreciate you. I appreciate that input. It makes sense.
Yeah. Yes. So this, I don't know. There's no ETA as far as when this will be released. And now, one person asked me, and probably it was asked in the comments, will there be a full mode? So we have slim mode, we have normal mode, and then you have the iOS 7-esque
Ooh, that's
app
interesting.
switcher. So that could be something that they implement down the line, and that would definitely be, I would think, be worth charging for.
That would be cool. I'll admit. But I'm looking forward to this
Yeah.
too. I would give this a shot again. I've long since deleted Auxo from my iPhone 5, but I would definitely give it a shot again too. Did you just sigh at me, Jeff? Why'd you sigh at me for?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been using Auxo since day one, and it literally has not left my iPhone since back in December. I mean, hold up, iPhone 5 was jailbroken when?
Ooh, good question.
When was
December
it
or
jailbroken?
January?
I think it was January.
Wait.
Because I was in Paris.
Now, was this the
when it was-
Evasion jailbreak that jailbroke it amazing?
Yeah,
Okay, then
Evasion.
that's it's either January or February.
Yeah. So I've been rocking it since then.
Well,
Day one, baby. Day one.
we'll see. We'll see if this
All right.
if this improves it for me.
Yeah. So what else we got there?
Well, we have another Shurnix. We have a Shurnix tweak. Is it ayra? Is that how you say it? I feel like
Yeah,
I'm always saying it wrong.
ayra.
And I feel like we've had this conversation before. But there's ayra,
Yeah.
that new lock screen tweak that I think is awesome. Why don't you talk to us about that?
Well, it's that, like you said, new lock screen tweak. It not only gives you a redesigned iOS 7 inspired lock screen, but it also gives you toggles right there on the lock screen. So you can actually pull down Notification Center from the lock screen and access 13 different or 12 different toggles, including the settings app shortcut. And that allows you to, access toggles right from the lock screen, which is nice. You can't do that, obviously, with stock iOS.
Right. We mentioned this before. You got to preview this one as well, didn't you?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, to me it looks gorgeous. The translucent slider, doesn't the battery when you're charging, doesn't that icon go translucent?
Yeah. And then there's a nice
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, album artwork looks great. It's a really nice tweak, man. I think it is certainly worth $1.99, especially like if you're one of those people who likes to try to make their device look more like iOS 7. This is something that you should at least consider using on your device there. $1.99 on Cydia's Big Boss Repo. It is ayra, and it's a good tweak. Very well designed.
Here, I wish it had more options. I think in the settings app you can only rearrange the toggles. I wish there was more options for you to customize, but otherwise it's a great looking tweak, and it's very functional. If you get emails and stuff like that in your notification center, you can just read through them from your lock screen. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's the preference panel is pretty straightforward. You'll find a kill switch and then a list of toggles, and that's pretty much it. But
hopefully they'll add more to that in the future. But I mean, like you said, even right now, it's a solid tweak.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's room for growth there, for sure. Yeah. So again, $1.99, Cydia's Big Boss Repo. What else we got, man?
Well, there was a slew of like spotlight tweaks, right? There was 3 or 4 of them, I think. What was one of them? Smart search that I think you just did this morning.
Yeah, this is a cool tweak. Doesn't work well. I won't say that now because there was an update pushed to it after I posted the walkthrough. But the version I used, it worked pretty well, as long as what this does basically is you can put in a search in Spotlight, and it will search Google right there from Spotlight. You don't actually have to open up anything. It will give you for instance, if you type in who is the CEO of Apple, it'll say Tim Cook. So it takes clear, concise factual questions and outputs an answer for you.
But if you don't ask it in the right context, you'll get nothing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think that's one of the problems you outlined in your review is that it what did you try to ask it what the temperature is in a given city, and
Yeah, and it
it
didn't.
could not figure it out.
Yeah, and I think maybe that update fixed that. But again, it's just like Google search. Like if you type something incorrectly on Google, not all the time will it provide you with the right. Like one of those when you search, it gives you that little top display with the top result in a nice little frame or
Right.
whatever. That doesn't always happen if you don't input your search correctly. So smart search is something worth checking out, especially because it's free. But just don't expect to be amazed.
It's not like Google Now or anything like that.
No.
It's very limited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it's free, so it's worth checking out.
Yeah, free on Cydia's Big Boss Repos, Smart Search. Now, you talked about a tweak this weekend, right? Lyric Flow?
Yeah, it was either this weekend or the end of last week. It's, Lyric Flow, for those of you who haven't heard of it, I'm trying to think of the developer's name. It's Eric something.
Castro.
But yes, thank you, Eric Castro. And he showed this off. He previewed this probably back in April, and there's just been no word on it up until now. But he released the beta of it last week, and what it does is it will give you lyrics to basically any song that's playing from your iPod Music app, your iTunes Music library, right there on your iPhone, and it also gives you a bunch of cover flow scrolling options, right? So if you don't like the typical, back and forth cover flow, it gives you the ability to scroll through your albums, circular motion. There's one called Carousel. There's one called Stacks. It's really hard to explain as I'm sitting here trying to explain it. You just have to kind of watch it. You have to check it out. I think we'll have the link for that down in the body of this post, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Looks like a very solid tweak. I haven't tried it yet, but I plan on doing so.
Right. No, it's very well designed, very sharp graphics, and all of the animations and the scrolling are very smooth. I think it's going to be expensive. I think it's $3 or $4, so you have to really want those lyrics to your songs to want to check this out. But yeah, very solid, very good looking. We don't have an ETA, but it's expected within the next few weeks.
So, question: does this work with Spotify, or is it only the stock music app?
I think it's only the stock music.
See,
app.
That's a deal breaker for me. I
you
can't.
You don't buy music. You rent it from Spotify, right?
Exactly. I mean, I can't handle that. What do you do?
Well, for the longest time, I was buying music slowly through iTunes, but we just got hooked on RDO. Me and my girlfriend did. Because, I don't know, we saw some kind of deal where it was like, try this out for 3 months for free.
Right.
And we both been really liking it. So I think even once our trial expires, we'll, continue to pay for it.
Yeah. Now, have you tried Spotify?
Yes.
And
I've done the 7-day trial of that. And I don't know, I like RDO's interface better. I like some of the options better. I guess it's just what I'm used to at this point. It's been a while since I've tried Spotify, probably since the last major update in the fall of last year.
Yeah, you definitely need to try it again. I think Spotify.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me why you're such a.
They have more music. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, they have there's stuff that you cannot find on RDO that's on Spotify.
Okay, so you like really non-mainstream music. Is that a safe bet? Do you like?
Yeah, I mean, somewhat, but
abstract artists.
Yeah, but sometimes there's just stuff, even like there could be fairly mainstream stuff that's not there. I can't think of any example right off the top of my head, and there was another reason too why I didn't like RDO. I can't remember why. I've tried it; it's decent, but
I hate that service, but I just can't remember why.
Maybe I need to try it again. But I will say this: I will say I like RDO for the fact that they have a family plan.
Yeah, what is it? I
think it's 17.
Maybe it's either $14.99 or $17.99.
Right, $16-17. Whereas with Spotify, you got to pay $29.99 charges. So I pay $20 a month for Spotify because my wife likes it too.
Yeah, so. Maybe we should do this. Maybe you should try RDO and I'll try Spotify, and we'll Maybe we'll report back our findings.
Right. Well, the thing is, like, all right, so I paid, let me just pull up calculator real quick. No, I'm kind of getting off topic, but $20 a month times 12. That's $240 a month. The average CD is how many dollars?
Just probably 10, around between 10 and $12.
Oh, well, let's say 12.
We'll say 12. Albums are like $10 on iTunes, but you're right. The hard copies are usually like 12 or $13.
That's 20 different albums I can get in a year for the price that I'm paying Spotify. Right. And really, I don't listen to that many different artists. Like, it's not like I'm just going crazy a la carte. So I don't know. Maybe with two people, it may be worth me just to buy the album.
Maybe, especially if you and your wife have similar taste in music.
Yeah, well, that's a problem. All right, well, let's move on. What's our next tweak there?
Next tweak is search. I don't know if I'm going to say this right. Search Amplius.
Perfect. Good job. Let's give this man a hand. Search Amplius. It is a, you know what? It's another Spotlight tweak.
Yeah, I told you there was 3 or 4 of them that kind of all hit right in a row.
Right. And this is really cool, actually.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, probably one of the better ones that came out.
This lets you search a variety of different things like the App Store, you can search Cydia, you can search YouTube, all directly from Spotlight. The results are within seconds. And
you can launch them, right? So if you search a YouTube video, you can tap right there in Spotlight and it'll automatically launch the video in your YouTube app.
Yeah, the stock or the official YouTube app, it'll launch in there.
And same with App Store. If you look up an app, it'll take you right to that app's page in the App Store app, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And then it has a companion app called Search Collapse. And this allows you to like dynamically collapse the search results so that you can easily wade through all the results.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't understand really what that did, but hearing you explain it, it makes more sense.
Yeah, and you can get both tweaks for $2.99. Like if you buy Search Amplius, then Search Collapse is free, which when it's normally 99 cents.
Yeah.
So $3 for a really good tweak.
Very useful. I think you said this.
Extremely.
I think you said this in your post that it's probably one that you'll use every day once you get used to it.
Yeah, and the search is super accurate. Like, I searched for like right after we posted the podcast on YouTube.
Right.
I searched for it and it was like bam, right there.
Yeah, and I think it's cool for Cydia tweaks, right? You don't have to open Cydia and wait for it to load and da 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 da. You could just search from it right there and it'll open right in Cydia.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that, it gives details on like, for instance, on a YouTube search, it'll tell you how long a video is. There.
In the App Store, doesn't it show you feedback?
Yeah. It shows you how many stars it got, the price, the developer. It's a nice tweak, man. Yeah. The developer kind of, I probably shouldn't say this, but the developer kind of drove me crazy. Like he was like tweeting me and DMing me like a million times.
You got to talk about this awesome tweak, man.
He went ballistic on me, man. So I wasn't trying to be rude. I was just like, oh, dude, I can't receive all this feedback that's, all the time like this. So I kind of just politely ignored. But he was right. I should have been more attentive because this is an awesome tweak and he did a really good job on it. So
yeah, very impressive.
Yeah.
What's it like reliability wise? Have you seen any issues?
No, it didn't crash on me at all. You don't get the results instantly, but you shouldn't expect that.
Right.
The results come 2 to 3 seconds after you type in Spotlight.
Yeah, I might have to check this one out for sure.
Yeah, highly recommended. Probably one of my favorite tweaks this month, for sure. Search Amplius, $2.99, Cydia's Big Boss Repo.
And I think that's it for most of the tweaks. I think we talked about this last week, but it's just been kind of dry lately for the jailbreak community.
But in the last 2 days, there's been a lot of stuff out there that, and I'm still kind of in the middle of covering it right now. Like, can I just mention this real quick?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Home artwork.
Oh,
I know you're gonna laugh, but I do think that is a really cool tweak. It's a. Have we seen something like this before?
It feels like we have. I couldn't name a specific example, but it feels like something we've seen,
I think we have. I don't think it
years
was this
ago.
well done. I don't think it was this well done. I think it like what this does. I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. What this does is it basically allows you, once you play music, it takes the album artwork and places it as wallpaper while the music is playing, and it doesn't just put like a a boxed wallpaper, but it fills the entire screen, which is nice. I think the other tweak only just put like a like on the lock screen
Right.
in your background. This actually fills the entire screen, so it makes for some interesting wallpaper, especially if you have an artist that has crazy album art.
Now, does it look bad because it's stretched to fill the iPhone 5's 1136 by 640 display?
I don't think it's well, I don't know. I think it's just really I don't know the answer to that. But it fills up the entire
and it doesn't look pixelated.
No, it's not pixelated, and the proportions are the same. That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
So it looks good, man. I think the album art, at least from Spotify, is pretty high quality stuff. So
it works with Spotify.
Yes, it does.
Which is normally a deal breaker for you.
And that's why I love this tweet.
Yeah. Well, that's cool because, like you said, a lot of artists get really creative with their album artwork. I know I am adamant that if for some reason, if I load personal music that I've, ripped off a CD or whatever, I am adamant about making sure album artwork shows up in iTunes because it drives me crazy when it's not, and because album artwork is cool. It's cooler to flip through.
Album artwork is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I don't know if I'd go that far. Oh, Jeff.
But
anyways,
let's see.
Super cool tweak. Does that one cost money?
Yes, it does. It's 99 cents on Cydia's Big Boss Report.
That's not too bad.
No.
Especially if you're really in love with album artwork.
Right.
But is that pretty much it for Jailbreak tweaks?
I think so. I think that covers the majority. And of course, there's still some others out there. So check out IDB for more information.
Right. Huh. It seemed like kind of a short show. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about? Oh, what do you think about this Wall Street Journal report from yesterday? Did you see that?
About the 13-inch iPad?
The 13-inch iPad. For those who haven't seen it, the Wall Street Journal is citing supply chain officials that Apple is currently testing a tablet device with a display slightly smaller than 13 inches in diagonal. Now, this is actually not the first time we've heard something like this. Back in March, there was a report going around that we actually dubbed a crazy rumor of a so-called iPad Maxi, the exact same dimensions, 12.96 or something like that, inches in diagonal. So it sounds like Apple may be really serious about releasing a larger iPad. What do you think about that?
At first, I want to dismiss it as just something stupid
Right.
and ridiculous
Right.
because it sounds utterly ridiculous.
I can imagine trying to hold something like that.
But on second thought, maybe I'm thinking of like using this as a screen.
Right.
More so obviously you have the iPad function, but
Maybe use it as like a secondary display.
maybe this is a real post-PC device. Like this is a real MacBook replacement. Like you could literally, maybe the OS is tweaked in a way that
It's more like OS 10.
Yeah, maybe.
I like where your head's at. I think some of our readers even mentioned this down in the comments of this post, but maybe they're thinking a pro device with vastly upgraded hardware compared to what's currently in the iPads, because obviously a larger screen size will give you more room to work with in the shell to add more memory, do whatever you need to do.
And I'm thinking, and I know this is sort of niche, but I'm thinking like VNC.
VNC would be
like
cool.
being able to because I know there's plenty of people out there that use their iPads as like terminal emulators, and they work remotely
Right.
From their device. But I don't know. It's interesting. I'm just imagining like a stand, like Apple releases a stand, and it looks like a little monitor on your.
Right. And they advertise it. Now, I don't think this will necessarily be like a, here, this is a MacBook Air / tablet. Like, what is it? The refrigerator toaster that Tim Cook referred to jokingly last year. But I think this could be a product where they pitch, you're right, a stand as well as maybe one of their Bluetooth keyboards, and it just works. It connects to your other Macs. You can do all kinds of different things on it than more advanced things than you can on a regular iPad. Maybe there's side by side app displays. You can be in multiple apps at the same
Right.
time.
Yeah, that's
So
where I'm going to. Like, I'm tweaking tweaking iOS 7 to have like multitasking, like true side by side multitask. I don't know, man.
exactly.
They could
And
go. It doesn't sound stupid at first, but after thinking about it, it looks like
it starts to sound more like this could really work. I like it for photographers. Imagine having this huge, bright Retina, 13-inch Retina display to show people, previews before you start printing out photos or just anything. Imagine showing presentations to somebody on this large, bright, vibrant 13-inch screen. I don't know. I think there's a lot of uses that people write off at first when they hear 13-inch iPad.
yeah, it still seems a little crazy though.
Yes, and as they noted in the article, in the Wall Street Journal article, Apple routinely tests various screen sizes as they develop these products and refine these products. So there's a very good chance we could never see anything like this. They could just be playing with different screen sizes, because that report also mentioned that they were playing with larger screen
Yeah,
iPhones, which I think is more of a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised to see that next year.
yeah, I think so. I think that's totally possible and welcomed, actually.
Yeah, I would not mind it. I thought, when the original iPhones, the first 4 models or 5 models, they were 3.5 inch, and I was like, man, if they would just go to 4 inches, I'd be happy. And they did that last year, and now I'm going, man, I wouldn't mind them going up to 5. I don't know if it could get much bigger than that, but a 5-inch display I think would be a nice sweet spot. It's not quite the ridiculous 7-inch phablet that Samsung does, but it's big enough where you can really enjoy extra screen real estate, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I don't know. We'll see, man. It's going to be an interesting fall. Interesting.
Interesting fall, and then an interesting
Yeah.
2014, yeah. Because it sounds like Apple is beginning to come out of its
Hibernation.
one device, one shell. Like, this is our one screen size, and we're not going to touch it because we did all this research, with thumbs to make sure that it was the appropriate screen size. But it sounds like they're kind of coming out of that line
Well,
of thinking and being more open to expanding the
yeah,
line.
and this kind of goes. I read another report today. I don't know who wrote it. Let's see. Um, about just flat sales. Maybe it was. Oh, the high end smartphone market gone, warns analysts.
Right.
I don't know. I mean,
Which is always a good sign.
you know, as much as I hate analysts and they're silly over analyzing things, it is moving to a point where I think that there's some rightness to that. What do you think? I mean,
Well, I think this goes hand in hand with another recent report I read that basically says that the wow factor is kind of gone, right? Like, people are no longer amazed that you can touch your
exactly,
phone and access the World Wide
exactly.
Web, or that you can watch high def video on your phone. People are no longer amazed at that. So I think that's what has to do with people not wanting to upgrade as
Yeah,
often. And that's why they think Apple should and is probably very likely to get into the budget iPhone business, because the low end market has a lot of room for growth. There's billions of customers in India and China and Russia and other emerging markets that don't have iPhones right now that
yeah.
could.
I think,
And so that's why they think that they need to get into making lower end iPhones.
yeah, and I was always kind of against that. I'm like, okay, well, so what, man? It's Apple. They make high end products, but at the same time, you have to face the reality of Wall Street.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a publicly traded company, then there is some there's some compromising that has to be made.
And you have to face the realities of market share. If you've already sold iPhones to everybody who's going to want iPhones, then you have to start looking at the people that don't have iPhones and figure out a way to reach them.
Yeah, I just hate going there because it's stupid analysts and stupid Wall Street. But
Right.
reality is reality.
Speaking of Wall Street, did you notice that it looks like Apple's down a little bit again today?
Yeah, I noticed that. Noticed that for the past year or so.
Yeah. Does that hurt? Does that hurt
Yeah,
to
a
look
little
at that? For those who don't know, I guess we should disclose. What is it? What is that called? Full disclosure? Something like that. I own shares of Apple stock, and I believe Jeff does too. And we have watched our our nest eggs steadily decline over last year, and I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, I see that their sales, the growth of their sales has slowed a bit, but we're still talking about a company that turns out more money per quarter than any other company in the world. At least in the top, they're at least in the top three. The only ones that make more than them, do oil, are in the oil business.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's all about perspective and growth. I mean, if there's going back to the whole thing about growth, there isn't at this point. I mean, the potential growth has slowed a lot.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. They're supposed to give their June quarter earnings tomorrow, right? Tomorrow afternoon, and analysts are pretty reserved. They're thinking Apple did between 25 million and 27 million iPhones sales for the 3-month quarter, and I don't know. I'm a little nervous. I'm hoping, I would like to see they did 30 or more. I think I read a report that said that because Verizon normally does 11% or something, some kind of percentage of Apple's iPhone sales, and Verizon did like 4 million iPhones last quarter, that could hint that Apple might have done 30 million or more iPhones. And my fingers are crossed that that's what happened and that they exceed Wall Street expectations.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll see.
Yeah, but definitely tune in tomorrow. We'll be covering that all afternoon.
Circus is coming to town.
Right.
That's all I have today, man. I don't know about you. What else you got?
Do we want to talk about the royal baby being born or no?
How about next week or the week after, or
maybe not at all. I've actually muted that on my in my Tweetbot apps.
Was it already born?
No, she went into I guess she went into labor this morning, and I can't believe the spectacle that's caused. It's on every news station. I mean, there could have been a hurricane in downtown New York, and I think everybody would still be talking about this baby. So, no. To answer your question, I have zero else to talk about.
Alrighty, man. Well, it was nice talking to you as usual, and I will catch you next week. This has been Let's Talk Jailbreak episode number 20, the big Deuce Zero. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Later, man.
Later.